Welcome back to another FSD studio session. Today it's just me. I'm here to take you through a quick little discussion on street smarts. Street smarts are, exactly like it says, your awareness, what's going on, how you got there, who's involved, kind of how the breakdown kind of goes. So we want to get into it real quick here, just to talk about, some things to think about in a fight type situation, right? One is you don't want to get into the street fight. You want to keep, yourself as physically distant from that position as possible and only use those skills if you need to, okay? And we're going to get into why in a second here. So, we already said awareness is key, right? Knowing what the situation is, knowing how you got into the situation, knowing whether or not this is a threat, okay, and the level of threat it is to you or someone else, okay? So we always break down our threats into 3 different levels, so 1, 2, and 3. 1 being super basic, okay, it could be verbal, right? Number 2 could be somebody that's trying to cause you physical harm, right? And then number 3 would be something to try to cause you, more than physical harm, right? Kind of like, they're trying to, could be a rape situation, could be trying to assault you very badly, okay, could lead to death, okay? So that's a level 3, and level 3 will also involve things like weapons, okay? So your assessment in your awareness steps should get you into that mode to see kind of what you're dealing with. Now, on the flip side of that, we want to try to maintain a non-physical structure in any street fight if we can, and keep aware, keep our distance, right? And then leave the situation as quickly as possible. As soon as you place your hands on somebody, you become responsible for what happens. Whether you want to think that way or not, that's the way things work, okay? The days of the Wild West are kind of gone, so you got to think things through. Now, if you need to use your skills in a situation that you have no other choice, by all means, that's why you have the skills, okay? And we're going to get to the skills in a minute, right, to make sure you got the skills you need to kind of back up what you're kind of is going on here. So keep that in mind, okay? So that level of threat, is it to yourself? Is it to a loved one? Is it somebody random that you don't know? Is it a third-party situation where there's 2 people in an altercation, right? We want to think all these things through, okay, right? And then, let's look at the whole aspect of the street fight. Who actually wins the fight, okay? Is it you? Is it the other person? Is it nobody? Okay, right? Hopefully, you're able to diffuse the situation either, very minimal physically, okay, or verbally, okay? Because the physical aspect, nobody really ever wins, okay? You got to deal with the psychological parts afterwards, especially if there was somebody that got harmed badly or even worse, okay? Or if you got harmed badly or even worse, or if this was in relation to a loved one or a friend and they were also injured or hurt very badly, okay? So, that's why we really want to promote the non-hands-on approach. I mean, of course, if it has to happen, you got to have the skills to back it, and, that's why we all train. But, right, if we can avoid it, then we should, okay, right? Because I don't want to end up, in a court of law on liability side and losing to some kind of a lawsuit over something that was kind of silly, okay? So because anything can happen, right? So, liability-wise, always think first before you do, right? I always have the approach that I think of the other person having a better skill set than I have, and if I think that way, my approach is different, okay? I'm going to, treat the situation differently, okay? And then, hopefully there's that level of respect that we can resolve this without the physical altercation. Doesn't always work, I know that, but that's what my goal is when I see these things happen, okay? I don't want to go hands-on, okay? So I like to think of things like, soft-handed skills, communication skills. It's going to be way better than getting physical, okay? A soft-handed skills refers to something like, maybe altering the direction of the way things are going, moving somebody out of the way without, doing any kind of striking, okay? Again, once you go hands-on, you can't take that back. It's all in at that point. So really think before you do, right? And then, also think of your level of competency or your level of skill set, right? That should set you up for the next step. If your skill sets are, you haven't trained a whole lot, then maybe you should really think about what you're doing before you do it. If you have a lot of training, then you also have to really think about what you're doing before you're going to do it, because if you do something that goes too far over the edge, okay, then you're also responsible. Remember, right, that court of law thing is always there. There's laws in place to protect yourself and also the other person, okay, and that goes back and forth both ways. So always think, right, know the laws of where you're at, okay, know how they work, and know what you're able to do, okay. A lot of times you're able to defend yourself, okay, but not to go beyond that, okay. Same with protecting somebody else, or you can protect them, but you go, again, safety is key here, right? Think before you do, right? Use your brain a little bit. Don't go to that, physical thing. I mean, so many videos show so much striking and hitting and all that stuff, which is great, okay? Those are skill sets, okay? It doesn't mean you have to use them, okay? But they're always there if you need them, okay? So, a good trained person is always going to have things to back themselves up on. They're going to have the verbal set, they're going to have the physical sets, they're going to be able to put those things together, okay? But they're also going to be able to stop when they need to, okay? You got to keep things in check all the time. Never get that one step beyond, okay? And then the last thing we'll talk about just quick, is a third-party intervention, okay? So two people fighting in an altercation. Again, do the assessment. Do you know the people? Do you not know the people? Do you need to get involved? Is this as simple as a 911 phone call or finding somebody that can appropriately deal with the situation? If you've never dealt with that before, probably not wanting to get in their hands on is probably a good idea, because you never know if both people are going to turn on you, and then you're faced with a 2-on-1 scenario of people that maybe don't care about you or about your well-being. So a lot of this, guys, is street smarts, is using your brain before you actually do the physical part, right? Think about it before you do it. Only do what you need to, and then get yourself to safety, or your loved one to safety, or your friend, or whoever it might be, okay? Just use your brain, okay? Because it's going to be so important for the next steps, okay? So enjoy that, think about it for a little bit. You're going to see a lot more of us this year with myself and some of the other FSD instructors. So, have yourself a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.